But if you want to catch the Mississippi Songwriters Festival, you're going to have to head to Cleveland, Mississippi, June 16th through the 17th. Joining us to tell us a little bit more is Miss Tricia Walker. Hey, Tricia.
Hey, Rebecca, how are you?
I'm doing well. Now, before we get to June 16th and 17th, I want to take you back in time to June 3rd, because I saw all these people posting about a dusty day on June 3rd in the Delta or whatever. I'm getting it wrong. And I thought, what am I missing? What cultural movie, something reference does that connect to? So what is the significance of June 3rd in the Delta?
Oh, my gosh. Well, it's the opening line of one of the greatest songs ever written by Delta girl Bobby Gentry. It's the opening line of her fantastic song, Ode to Billy Joe.
So I am missing something huge. Well, you weren't the only one posting about it, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to do my research. I'll just wait until Tricia comes back on, and I will ask her. So there you go. Well, I love that. I love that so many people were sharing about that on June 3rd.
Absolutely. I think Greenwood actually has started a little 3rd of June festival now.
Well, you know what? That's why you tune into Good Things, so you learn this great information that you should know about your own state. So, okay, pretty cool. All right, let's get to what you're got coming up on June 16th and 17th, and that is the Mississippi Songwriters Festival. Man, this is what, year 6? No, wait, year 23 maybe? No, what year? 13. Math is hard.
Well, a little clarification there. There's a parent festival. The actual Mississippi Songwriters Festival is held on the Mississippi Gulf Coast in September, and this is their 13th year. But what we're doing, we're going to partner with them, and we're going to become their first satellite festival based on the different tourism regions of Mississippi. So this is the Mississippi Songwriters Festival Delta region. This will be the first time we do the little satellite festival here in the Delta.
Well, that must mean that folks are interested in the idea of songwriting, for there to be an opportunity not only for it to be going on for over a decade, but now branching out to the different regions. What was the thought process behind the different regions and being able to provide something different for songwriters?
Well, songwriters, and that's who I most strongly identify as a songwriter. And most of our work is done in solitude or with one or two other people. So it's important to build that community. And the folks on the coast have done such a great job. Their festival and their organization, they've been doing it so long. They do educational outreach. They bring in professional writers from Nashville, and they're just doing it so well. And I've been working with the local musicians up here in the Delta for our Deep Roots project, and a lot of those folks are songwriters, but they don't get a chance very often to meet with other songwriters, even on a local basis, and just talk shop and share lyrics and, how can I get this out there? How do you get on streaming services? And so we want to try to have that kind of community building around this festival. And if it works well here, then I believe that the larger, the parent festival, will try to replicate that in the other areas that Mississippi MDA Visit Mississippi designate as those tourist areas, the hills, the pines, the Capitol River region, the Delta, and of course they've already done it on the coast.
You think about it, the different regions in culinary terms, or even in other art forms, painting, sculpture, that kind of stuff. There's very significant styles of all of that per the region. I never really stopped to think about it in terms of music, but I would assume that the, sort of the cultural influences of the music would also be different in all the different regions as well.
Yeah, they certainly could be, and that'll be interesting. That's an interesting thing to consider as we listen to the songwriters. What's different about a songwriter festival as opposed to a other music festival is this is very, very stripped down, bare bones. These are going to be the people who wrote the songs performing their own songs. So usually that's just with a guitar or a keyboard. There's not a lot of production. There's not the final recording that you hear. This is the song in its purest essence, when the writer gets to perform their own song and see how an audience reacts to it. It's based on that Bluebird Cafe intimate listening room in Nashville, where you really go to try out your songs without a lot of trappings and see how the audience reacts to them.
So how do people get involved? I know it's 2 days, the 16th and the 17th that's coming up. Is it something we need tickets for? Is it more like you're bringing your music? How does this going to work, Tricia?
Right. Well, it's free and open to the public. Now, we've already curated our lineups, so we'll have about 25 local or regional, there'll be a few folks outside of the Delta, that are going to come in, and then we have 3 professional writers coming down from Nashville. And the way it works, on Friday night, I believe we start at 6 p.m. There'll be 4 writers to a group, and they'll play about 45 or 50 minutes. Then we'll change out and do another 4 writers and another 4 writers until about 10 o'clock that night. Then the same thing on Saturday. We'll start about 6 o'clock, 4 writers doing about 45 minutes of their original material. And just kind of, it's almost like, being in your living room, listening to people just kind of pass the guitar around. Open to the public. We really hope the public will come and support these songwriters. The songwriters sort of toil away in obscurity in dark rooms and in front of computer screens to really get into what their heart and soul wants to say. And you've heard my sermon before. If it weren't for songwriters and songs, there'd be no music business. Nothing happens until a songwriter picks up a pen or a computer or whatever and writes that song. Nobody gets famous. There's no tours. There's no tour buses. There's no videos. You've got to have a song. And so we're really trying to celebrate songwriters.
And I think, too, encourage those that enjoy music or the music business that you don't have to be the lead person if you feel like you don't have that, or the the being able to do the instruments either. You can still be a songwriter is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. In my time in Nashville, I knew some of the most tremendously successful songwriters who really, they were not great singers. They really couldn't play an instrument very well, but they had the gift and understood the craft of how to put words and music together to make that story that was compelling and that just touched everybody in the heart. And that's a unique skill. That's a unique skill. And
how cool, too, to come out and support something and maybe hear a new hit song first, and to hear it in a different light or a different way. I think that's the beauty of it. These are things you're not going to hear on the radio. It's going to be completely new and fresh.
That is absolutely right, and that's one of the most amazing moments too. Again, the audience that comes to this, they may hear songs that a writer may have just written yesterday or that day, and they're just kind of trying them out to see. But you're right; these are songs that you may never hear on the radio. They're worth hearing on the radio, but just because of the way the business is, you may or may not ever hear them. But to hear them in this intimate setting, a real listening room environment, is what we're trying to cultivate for this festival.
So where do we go to get the rundown or sort of set up our agenda for coming out and supporting this?
You bet. There's a web page that's linked off of the main festival page. So if you go to mssongwritersfestival.com and then / there's a drop-down page on there for the Delta region, and it's got our schedule. We'll be offering 2 workshops, which are open to the public. One is on crafting better lyrics, and one is on how to license your music these days with all the streaming services and all. And that's available online on that webpage, mssongwritersfestival.com, and then look for the drop-down menu for Delta region.
All right, Tricia, I can't have you on when we're talking about what tastes like summer and not ask you from the Delta. What is it up there in that region that tastes like summer to you?
Ooh, I'm waiting for the watermelon crop to come in.
There you go. Do you put salt on your watermelon?
I do not. I'm not a salt watermelon person, but on tomatoes. Now, tomatoes is the other thing. If I could have tomatoes and watermelon all summer, that's all I need.
That's all you need. You need a little vitamin C. You got all your food groups there with your BLTs and your watermelon. I mean, I give it 2 thumbs up. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate your time, Tricia, and folks to get out and go support the Mississippi Songwriters Festival Delta region, and look forward to having you back.
Thanks so much, Rebecca. Appreciate it.
All righty. There you go. What cool opportunity to get out and support. You never know. You could say, I heard it when, or then just to be experiencing something cool and unique. I think that's also something very summer in Mississippi, is all these opportunities to get out and support music and the arts in unique sort of ways. I think almost every community in our area has some form of outdoor concert going on at some point this summer. To be able to take a blanket or to be able just to go out and hear an artist giving you their all, right? Like, how, to me, it would be terrifying to have written the song and then get up and try to sing it to an audience for the first time. I can't think of anything else more nerve-wracking, right? Because not only are you having to sing, because that's scary enough, but now you're sharing your words that you hope people like. Have you ever written a song, Rhino?
Oh, yeah.
Really? No. Never done it. I don't think. I've made a rhyme, but on accident a few times. But I don't know if I've ever. I don't know. Never written a song. Not in my resume for sure. But stick with us. We got more for you up next.